Hey, welcome to our live broadcast. It is Wednesday, April the 25th. If you're jumping on live with us, welcome. So happy to have you here. If you're catching this on the rebroadcast, always feel free to make sure that you leave a comment for us. I always go back and readdress the videos once they're posted, so always feel free to hit us up if you're catching this rebroadcast. We appreciate you being here as well. Today we are going to be talking about stress incontinence and can fasting help if you are suffering. If you're new, I always like to take a second to introduce myself. My name is Diane, and for the past 25 years, I have been helping women find nutritional plans and fitness programs to help them look and feel their best and live their most authentic life. And here in this community, we are doing that through practicing intermittent fasting and a keto-like lifestyle. So welcome if you're new. So I have been very open about the fact that I suffer from stress incontinence. It started for me when I was 34, 35, I think, right after I had my son Logan. Logan was a huge baby. He was 9 pounds 3 ounces. He was 2 weeks late. I had I guess a fairly easy delivery for him, but it was definitely a lot of work because he was such a big baby and he was my first. And what I was unaware of as a new mom was the possibility of stress incontinence. So once my body healed up and I was ready to hit the road again as a runner, because you all know that I'm an avid runner, I was really, really bummed out and probably a little bit depressed about the fact that I was not able to run the same way I used to before I was pregnant because I now was suffering from stress incontinence. Stress incontinence is very, very common in women, and especially common for women who have big babies or have vaginal deliveries during their childbearing experiences. So if you're not familiar with what stress incontinence is, bless your heart, I will kind of go over a little bit about what it is, and then we'll talk about some symptoms, and then I'm going to share with you my personal experience of what I've gone through as a woman who's been suffering with stress incontinence and a runner. So urinary incontinence or stress incontinence is really an unintentional loss of urine. So it is literally a leak that you have that comes from your bladder because of weakened muscles that are associated with the floor of your bladder and your urethra. So what happens is as your bladder starts to fill with urine, and the muscles have been weakened because of stress, such as childbirth, your urethra doesn't naturally stay like sealed tight because it just doesn't have the muscle strength to do it anymore. So as urine starts to accumulate in your bladder, you literally just have leakage when there is stress that is pressed upon your bladder. So running, tripping, coughing, laughing, sneezing, we all hear the little chuckles and little kind of side remarks with women when they're like, oh, I think I just peed a little, or don't make me laugh, you're gonna make me pee, or I don't wanna cough, I think I'm gonna pee. And we say those things in jest and to sort of like lightheartedly talk about it, but it's a really serious condition, and for some women, myself included, it can be very life altering. It can really make you feel self-conscious and make you change some of the things that you really enjoy doing in life. And for me, that was running. Every time I went out for a run, I would come back in tears because there was nothing that I could do to stop my bladder leakage, and I wanted to be a runner. And so over time, I sort of found some things that I could do to make it better. And I figured out that when I suffered the most from my stress incontinence, it was very cyclical. And so I would be able to kind of calendar it based on my hormones. And then I'm going to share with you in a little bit what I'm now dealing with as far as stress incontinence. So it's something that we really can't control happening to us. It's just one of those things that happens because as women, we give birth to children. Some of us do it vaginally, and when you do, you just cause that stress, which causes the leakage to happen because of the de-stressed muscles in your bladder floor. So there's lots of things that you can do to improve it. One of those is having a surgery done where you have, I believe it's like and I'm going to just say it non-medically, like a hammock is the way it was described to me, that's sort of inserted and lifts, it kind of hoists up your bladder, which does just take some pressure off the floor of your abdominal area and just kind of lifts that bladder up a little bit and gives it sort of a fake strength floor, which helps with stress incontinence. There's been some controversy about those surgeries. Some women go through them very successfully. Others have had some post-surgery complications. It was one of those things that my doctor was really pressing that I have done, and I just never felt comfortable with going under and having that surgery done because I heard so many horror stories. And so there were many years that I did really just suffer from stress incontinence. But I'm going to share with you some of the tips and tricks and some of the ways I've been able to manage it. So if you're a runner or you're a very active woman, you've probably felt some of the same sort of situations where you're just bummed out that you can't work out as hard or you can't push as hard. I know for me, I stopped registering and putting myself in like racing situations because it mentally and emotionally exhausted me, and I felt like I couldn't run at the level that I wanted to run, or I couldn't be competitive as a runner because the harder I pushed or the faster I ran, the more my bladder would leak. And I would do things like try to dehydrate myself so I wouldn't have so much fluid in my bladder. I would have to use the restroom like 15 times before I would go out for a run just to make sure it was empty as I could possibly be. And the reality is, none of that worked because your bladder is constantly just naturally filling up with urine, and even a drop could cause a leak if you have a stress incontinence issue. So it was that thing that was really kind of just emotionally and mentally taxing on me. Some other things that can cause stress incontinence, if you maybe are a woman who has never had a child, maybe that was a choice that you had, or just a situation that you've come across in your life, or maybe you've had a C-section. Women who have C-sections are not as likely to have stress incontinence issues, but age in itself can be one of those things that can bring on stress incontinence. Again, it's just one of those things that it's wear and tear of your body, and muscles just become weak. We know that with other muscles in our body. The same thing happens with the muscles that are associated with our bladder and our abdominal floor, and so age can just be one of those things that could bring on stress incontinence later in life. Body weight is another one of those situations where you could start suffering from stress incontinence. And again, it's just weight bearing down on your bladder that over time will just cause a weakening of the muscles and can create a stress incontinence situation for someone who maybe didn't have it in their earlier years, or maybe someone who might be who isn't dealing with a weight issue could maybe get away with not having these stress incontinence issues, but that body weight is just that thing that really does weigh down on us and could cause some of that distress. And then someone who's had a hysterectomy can also suffer from stress incontinence even if you haven't had it before. And again, it's just going in and messing around with those muscles around that area that could end up causing you to have some muscle distress post hysterectomy kind of situation. So again, some of the things that are side effects of stress incontinence are really not anything that could be physically damaging to us. It's really more emotional and mental, and it can be very paralyzing for some women. For me, for a period of my life, it was very paralyzing. I would have to think twice about putting my running shoes on and going for a run, or think twice about being that cool mom at the bouncy house place who bounced with my kids, because if I jumped up and down on a trampoline, I would have some bladder leakage. Running through a park, any simple task that you normally wouldn't have to think twice about, when you suffer from stress incontinence, you have to think twice, because if you're not wearing the right color pants or you're not in the right situation, it can be embarrassing. And we all know that society in general is not very forgiving about things that can be embarrassing, something like stress incontinence. So we have to put on that sort of shield, and that almost like we have to block ourselves out of normal social situations, because what if we have a leakage problem, and then what are we going to do, and how are we going to be able to handle it, or more importantly, are the people around us going to be able to handle it? And so I had to exit out a lot of my family situations or just social situations that before that time, I would have never had to think twice about. So it can be very emotionally draining for us as women. So what can we do to help with something like stress incontinence, and can fasting help? Well, I talked about how being overweight causes that extra stress and weight to be pushed down on our bladder. And when we have that stress and we have that push down, that causes your muscles to weaken and causes you to have leakage. The same thing holds true when we are retaining water. So I talked about how I would calendar out when my stress incontinence would be its worst. So when I was younger, so before I started going through perimenopause, so probably in my mid to late 40s was the time when I was still running and wasn't going through the change of life yet. So that's when I was suffering from stress incontinence the most. And I noticed that when I was like PMSing, my stress incontinence was worse. That was because I was naturally retaining water. So I had all that extra fluid in my body and it was weighing down on my bladder. You know what I'm talking about. If you get bloated around the time right before your menstrual cycle starts, you know you're retaining water. All of that fluid was weighing down on me, and that made running worse because of my stress incontinence. So the week that I was on my menstrual cycle and the week after, I could run and not have any issues at all with my stress incontinence. But man, that third week, I was out. I couldn't run and not have an issue. So water retention or inflammation or bloating can be that thing that can make your stress incontinence worse. Other things that can cause your stress incontinence to be worse, and where fasting can really be beneficial to you, is the fact that when you're fasting, you're creating that environment for your body to let go of that inflammation. And when you're feasting well, so you're really concentrating on those foods that are causing you to be intolerant, bloating, inflammation, any of those kind of issues that are going to kind of weigh down on you, and you identify those foods and you eliminate them, and you're no longer retaining water and you're no longer bloated. And constipation can be another one of those things that's going to cause you issues with your stress incontinence, again because you have that extra weight weighing down on you. When you eliminate those foods and you eliminate those symptoms from those foods, you can also improve the symptoms and the situations you have with your stress incontinence, because you're not adding that extra pressure on your body and you don't have that extra fluid that's retaining inside of you. So what I've noticed for myself is when I started going through this process of really identifying the foods that were causing me the worst inflammation, my stress incontinence started to improve. Also, when you are fasting, you're more energized, you're probably losing some weight, you're getting rid of that inflammation, your body systems start to function properly. And when I really started to get on that really good rhythm of fasting and feasting well, my stress incontinence has almost completely disappeared. No surgery, no medication, just changing my lifestyle and changing what I'm putting in my body and how my body responds to those things. So yesterday we had to run last minute to watch Gabby finish her track meet. So, or no, I think it was Monday. So we were on the visitor side of the football field. So imagine yourself at a high school football field. We were on the visitor side stands, and Gabby's running coach came to us and said, "Oh my gosh, Gabby's doing the last leg of her relay race. You guys need to be on the other side of the field." So we had to run from the visitor side in a football field all the way around the end zone to the other side of the stands. I was wearing light blue jeans and I had to run. I had just drank some water, didn't have an opportunity to go use the restroom, ran all the way around, zero bladder problems, zero stress incontinence issues, zero leakage. I've done nothing else except clean up my nutrition, get rid of all the inflammation in my body, and start working out again. Those are the three things that I have changed since I had my problems with my stress incontinence. And I've also gone through menopause, so maybe the hormonal balance that I'm dealing with now too could possibly be one of the reasons why my stress incontinence has improved as well. So to me, I no longer have a stress incontinence issue. There's no other justification for why I was so troubled with it before, and now I don't have a problem with it at all. And I have been doing some running on my treadmill at home too, with zero problems with stress incontinence, no leakage whatsoever, just by changing my nutrition, healing my body, getting rid of the foods that were causing me intolerances, and adding in some exercising. I'm guessing that the muscles are getting that strength back again. That last part I want to kind of put a little asterisk by, because I was exercising before as well, but still suffered. So I'm not doing any different type of exercise that I was doing before when I was still suffering from it. I'm doing the same type of exercise now. Literally, it's the nutritional aspect of my life that has changed, maybe some of the hormonal aspect of my life that's changed, and the fact that I'm no longer carrying around all that extra fluid in my body. I'm not retaining water, and I'm not taking in any of those foods that are causing me any of those intolerances, and I am fasting long and feasting well. And I do think that that makes a huge difference. There's lots of things in our food that cause us to have sort of that diuretic effect as well, and I've eliminated all those foods as well. So if you're suffering from something like stress incontinence, do some research and do some experimenting. Something like intermittent fasting. Again, remember, when we're intermittent fasting, we're taking a 24-hour period and we're choosing not to put anything in our body except water or coffee, and then we are feasting well on the foods that are not going to cause our bodies to have any of those reactions that can cause some of those signs and signals, such as inflammation, retaining water, bloatedness, and even some of that constipation that comes up when we put foods in our body that our body is not tolerant of. So experiment with it. It is totally worth it. I am so excited to now be healed and be able to get back into running the way I want to run, getting back into doing some races, getting back into really confidently living my life and not having to always second guess if today is going to be that day where I either need to take myself out of a memory making opportunity with my kids because there might be some sort of accident, or having to think twice about just living my life the way I want to live it as a very active, healthy woman, because I might have a little bit of a slip up or leakage and then be embarrassed by it. So it's definitely worth doing the research. It's definitely worth putting the work in, and it's definitely worth taking your chance if you don't want to go the operation route or the medication route. You can heal your body naturally by just paying attention to what your body's trying to tell you. So let me jump on and see if I can answer some questions for you or help you guys in any way with this situation. I know it's super touchy, and I know it's very personal, and a lot of us women walk around holding on to the secret because we think we're the only ones. I'm here to tell you, you are not the only ones. It happened for me in my 30s, right after I had my first child. So that was Logan. So that was 17 years ago. It got worse again after I had Gabby, and I had her 11 years ago. And it really has been that thing that has been battling me for the last 18 years. Logan's almost 18 years old. And don't suffer. Do the work to get those foods out of your body, change your lifestyle, do some experimenting, and then most importantly, live your life. We have to be more open about these things that we deal with as women, because again, if someone's going to be willing to openly talk about it, that takes a little bit of that shame and a little bit of embarrassment away. And if I can help you take a little bit of your own shame and embarrassment away, knowing that this is totally normal and there's nothing wrong with you, then, and give you an opportunity to live your most authentic life a little more openly, then please take this as some great advice for you, and don't limit yourself at all. Joy, welcome. Janet, hey girlfriend, nice to have you here from New York. Let's see, Alan and Andrea, hello, like the haircut. Oh, thanks so much. Got it done today. I did a little poll on Instagram to see if I should cut it off or keep it, and the poll won. They said cut it off. I'm absolutely loving it. It's officially my birthday week, you guys. So today marks the 1 week before my 52nd birthday, and that'll be next Wednesday. So I'm doing a little birthday prep stuff this week to get myself ready. Jenny from January class, good to have you here. Janet, I had this happen to me after a run, scared me. Yeah, it's just that, that pressure on the bladder. So do some work and find those foods that are kind of triggers for you that cause you to be a little bit inflamed, and see if that works. Gluten, dairy and soy are those things that really were keeping me inflamed. I got rid of those things. And then I've never been that woman that can, I see a lot of my runner friends drink their cup of coffee and then go for a run. That's never been me because coffee is a diuretic and it just made it worse. So things like caffeine can cause it to be a little bit worse. Carbonation for some women can cause it to be worse. And heavy carbs are also considered to be one of those things that can cause your stress incontinence to become worse. So keep an eye out for those things, of course. For sure. Kendra, hi Diane, and sister, mom and I are watching. Oh, awesome. My family is watching. Good to have you guys here. Amy Yo, yes, this is me. Yep. For sure, for sure. It's all women who put stress on their bodies. And I would never ever trade my two amazing babies for running with no issues ever. So I've always just said, oh, screw it, I'm just going to go run. If you ever have seen pictures of me running over the last 20 years or 18 years or whatever, I always wear black shorts. I always had to go pick out workout clothes or running clothes that were like stress incontinence suitable. And it's just the way I did it because I didn't want to give up running. But there were days that I handled it better than others. And that's just the way it is sometimes. But don't suffer and don't feel like it's just you, please. It's definitely not. Carla, great topic. We all need more info like this. Yes, for sure. And I'm going to be sharing some more stuff like this as we go on through the year. Diane from Pennsylvania, welcome, girlfriend. Lori, cute haircut. Oh, thank you so much. And Tabata, sprints are out for me. Literally wet myself and really messed with my head. So embarrassing. Yeah. And I had a kickboxing instructor one time call me out because I wasn't jumping good enough for her or whatever. And I just finally, after class, I said, I could jump higher if you want, but I'm going to pee all over your floor. So I'm doing the best I can. And that's that thing. I think as women, we have to just be a little bit more compassionate for other women and really give women, I don't know, some space. Like, we got to be less critical, less judgmental, less snobby to other women, and just be a little bit more open-minded and try to be a little bit more empathetic as well. But yeah, that's why I like burpees. I'm out. I don't need to do burpees, all those kind of things. And you just find alternate ways to do things, but it is a little bit disheartening for us personally. And one of the reasons why I started working out at home was because I had the privacy to do what I needed to do at home without anybody, in their glares at me or whatever. So I did change a lot of my lifestyle to be at home to work out because it was more comfortable for me and I could work out at the level I wanted to and no one cared. Cindy, you're welcome for the topic. Jess, I have to see my doctor again because of my ear infection. They think it's my jaw due to arthritis. Yeah, it probably is. And keep in mind, Jess, that any inflammation you have in your body is going to cause arthritis to be worse. So you have to get that inflammation out of your body, and that does really help alleviate some of those pains and signs and signals of arthritis. Arthritis is an autoimmune disorder. So gluten is one of those things that really does cause people with arthritis major problems, and then just inflammation in general. So make sure you talk nutritionally with your doctor as well. Don't just go the medicine route if you have an option. Jillian, thanks for that. I appreciate that. Janet, when you discussed with your doctor, what did he or she recommend? My doctor recommended that I go see a urologist and have surgery or be on a prescription medication that basically dehydrated me, and I didn't want to do either. So I just kind of ran wet. I mean, I just peed. If you guys look back at my YouTube channel, there was a time where I was sponsored by Depends Women's Undergarments, and I tried that for a while when I ran. And sometimes that was okay for me emotionally, and other days I just couldn't fathom the thought of it. And so I just kind of experimented with different things. There's lots of feminine products now that you can use for stress incontinence. Google it or research some stuff on the internet, but lots of companies are now producing things. I think it's I don't know the brand, but there's like different things that you can do. We'll just say that. For the sake of not being totally dogged by what do you call them? not haters, but people who come on social media and dog you for stuff you're talking about, do research it. There are lots of companies like Depends. I think Poise is another company that produces a lot of good feminine hygiene products that you can start incorporating. And like I said, if you go back to my YouTube channel, you'll see some stuff where you just search Depends on my YouTube channel. You'll see that I've done some videos reviewing some products, and maybe that could be something that could help you as well. Janet, I've seen lots of improvement with stress incontinence since starting IF and losing 32 pounds. I think some tweaking on my diet will help improve even more. Yeah, totally. Just keep tweaking for sure and keep paying attention. But losing weight, intermittent fasting does heal a lot of things in your body. Even the balance of your hormones could be enough to help you with your stress incontinence as well. Andrea, thank you for making this scary part of my life not scary anymore. Aging is looking like an adventure now. Thank you for all of this education to get me to a place where I can think that. Yeah, for sure. We should be able to age gracefully, and we should be able to age openly, and we should be able to age honestly. And the one thing that we really have to be super careful of as women, because we need to stay together in a tribe, is don't be judgmental if a woman wants to take a different route to aging than you want to take. There are some women that go all gray and don't care how their face ages or don't do anything to their bodies, and they're cool with everything that's going on with them. And I 100% respect that. I'm not 100% that woman. I take really good care of my body, and I'm taking really good care of my skin, and I don't want to go all gray, and there's some things that I want to do to kind of take a couple of years off, but that's my personal thing. And we've got to be really open to other women who want to reverse a couple things that maybe they weren't taking good care of themselves in their earlier years. So we should be really open and respectful of any road a woman wants to take as we go down this aging process, and we should stick together and not become so hurtful and mean to other people because they try to do something different. Just don't push yourself on someone else, and respect what other people are doing, and we can all do this together our own way, which is the way it should be done for sure. Robin, thanks for jumping in from Toronto. Lynn, does the carbonation from the mineral water contribute to this as well? It can. It never really bothered me, but that was one of those things that when I was researching that I found was that carbonation could be something that could lead to it. So test it out for yourself and see if it works. And it could have just been carbonated soda and maybe not carbonated water. So it might have been something else in the soda ingredients that could have done it. But since I've been drinking carbonated water, I personally don't have a problem, but I don't drink soda anymore as well. So Janet, an idea if doing Kegel exercises help. I think they say that it helps. I think any kind of exercising that's going to help. So if you did any kind of lower ab strengthening, that definitely helps. When I run, I really try to make sure that I keep my abs, especially my lower abs, contracted. It really does help me run. And so I think anything that you can do to strengthen that area will definitely beneficial to you. It won't hurt, that's for sure. Hey Laura, good to see you here, girlfriend. Laura is one of my new friends that I met on the beach in Cancun. Super cool chick. Thanks for jumping on with us. Good to see you here. Debbie, I'm thanking God I found you. I was keto for a couple of years and saw some results. Cutting wine out and IF has been a game changer. I was spiking insulin way too much. Yeah, for sure. For sure. And it's that thing, I always try to let you guys know too that when you're healing and when you're healed, you can live your intermittent fasting life in different ways. While you're healing, you really do owe yourself the opportunity to be very diligent about what you're doing. That clean fasting, cutting out things like wine temporarily, because you want to really give your body an opportunity to reset itself. And then once you feel healed emotionally, mentally, and physically with what you're doing, then you have the opportunity to really experiment with some new things, or maybe add a glass of wine in here and there, because your body's going to be able to handle it a little bit differently, and your tolerance to it's going to change. So one glass of wine when you're healed and you're fasting and feasting well is pretty much all you need to really be able to enjoy a glass of wine. We tend to get into that mode of overdoing things because of habitual reasons, and we've talked about before on here about how you can have one glass of wine turn into 4 super easy if you're not paying attention and you're trying to numb some of the things you're feeling. So getting in tune with your body and getting yourself healed will really allow you the opportunity to kind of change what you're doing once you get down that path. So keep on that healing path for sure. Becky, this is crazy. I was just thinking the other day that this issue is getting better for me. I almost emailed you to ask if this could be the case. That's awesome. Becky, that's awesome. So yes, that's why I always say pay attention to those signs and signals, everything that's happening. Pay attention. Is your hair growing faster? Do you have to get your nails done as often? Is your skin changing? Are you sleeping better? Are you noticing a difference in things that are just ailing you in general? Stress incontinence is one of those things that just ails us. And yes, it is true, Becky. It is definitely getting better for you. So keep at it for sure. Okay, again, I hate to get so close to Facebook, but this is the only way I can scroll through my YouTube comments on here. So YouTube, Style by Christina. Welcome to the talk today, and thank you for the compliment. I appreciate it. Dr. Denise, love the hair. Thank you, girlfriend. Life, how do you stop sugar cravings? The best way to stop sugar cravings is to stop eating sugar. It's a dependency thing. It's a chemical dependency that your body has, and you have to just you can either be one of two people, and it's a personality thing. You can cold turkey it and just cut the sugar out, or you can slowly start to just be very conscious about where you're placing sugar in your life and eliminate it that way. So it's really a personality thing of how you want to cut it out. The true confession, I have urine and mild incontinence if I sit for too long. Yeah, so I would say just definitely want to strengthen those muscles for sure. Ida, your hair looks good. Thank you. Pam, can't laugh or sneeze either. Panty shields are good to wear for that. Yeah, for sure. Like I said, there's lots of companies out there that are really focusing on stress incontinence. So that also should tell us that we're not alone. There's a market for it, which means there's enough people out there that are suffering from it. The more we talk about it, the more we feel like we're not alone. Dana, Washington State and the alumni of last October. Good to have you back. Margaret, getting from car to the bathroom can be tough sometimes. I don't make it. So now there's a difference between stress incontinence and like an urgency sort of incontinence, and they're two different things. So if you have an urgency issue, it's different than stress incontinence. Stress incontinence is exactly what it sounds like. It's when stress is caused to your bladder. So maybe slow down your pace a little bit, Margaret. Maybe that might help. Dana, love your hair. Thank you so much. Pam, yes, can't come to think of it, I haven't had a problem with this since I have changed my eating habits and have lost 54 pounds. FYI, you look great, Diane. Thanks, Pam, and congratulations. So losing 54 pounds takes the pressure off, and changing your lifestyle around nutrition will also help you because you're just eliminating those things that are going to cause you some stress. Miss Joyce, I'm still doing IF and have been at my goal since I think September. Awesome. Dana, I influenced my mom who was really struggling with dementia symptoms, and since she has been intermittent fasting and on a keto-like diet, she's dramatically improved and like her old self. Dana, congratulations to you for sharing this with your mom and helping her get back to her new self or her old self, however you want to say it. But congratulations, that you just gave your mom her life back, and kudos to you for paying it forward. That is so awesome. And proof that this works for a lot of different reasons. Trudy, age and weight probably contributed to my issue with this. No children, thanks for the information. Yeah, Trudy, for sure. It's just wear and tear, and you know, like if we have been active women, that contributes as well. So it happens to a lot of women for a lot of different reasons. Miss Joyce, I'll be 71 in June, and if I don't have RA, I'd feel better. Get rid of the inflammation in your body, Miss Joyce, and you will feel better for sure. It's all nutrition related. Janet, happy birthday, Diane. I love your hair. I'm excited to be in your May intro course. Well, Janet, you get to be in my birthday course, so I'll be celebrating all month with you guys in the month of May. My birthday's next week. Can't wait. Lisa, April course and love it. Awesome. Miss Joyce, I had relapse surgery in the spring. Yep, I think that's for stress incontinence for sure. Veronica, I unfortunately had to have a pelvic sling surgery. That's what it's called. I called it a hammock, but it's a sling. 10 years ago, mine was so bad. I am very active and couldn't even walk the evening without wetting myself to my knees. So are you finding relief since you had the sling surgery, or was your surgery I think it's that your stress incontinence was so bad. So hopefully you found some relief from your surgery. Dana, stopped riding horses due to stress incontinence. Okay, so fix some stuff, Dana, and get back on that horse for sure. Trudy, I tried to take a high intensity course with a lot of jumping and couldn't do it without leaking. Yep. My doctor suggested Kegel. Yeah, for sure. Anything you can do to strengthen those muscles back up is going to be beneficial to you, and then just get rid of the things that are going to cause you to hold that water. Eugenia, does using aromatherapy break a fast? I mean, applying it on your body, but not ingesting it. I know things are absorbed by the skin, which is why I ask. Eugenia, I would give it a try. That's something I would definitely experiment with. Lisa, thanks for info for us aging ladies. Oh, Lisa, you're so welcome. Thank you for being here for sure. Maria, girlfriend, I haven't seen you in a while. Welcome back. Love your hair. I'm loving IF and staying focused. Down 20 pounds since January. I'm feeling amazing. Awesome, Maria. So happy to hear that and love seeing you back here today. So, stress incontinence. Can it be relieved or eliminated with something like fasting? I would have to say from my own personal experience, yes, but it's a combination of things that you're doing in your lifestyle. Fasting does really provide an opportunity for you to heal your body hormonally, and hormonal imbalance can be that thing that's going to cause you to have that retaining water or the inflammation in your body. So yes, it can help with that. Eliminating the foods that are going to cause you to have that extra weight bearing down on your bladder. Remember, anything that we put in, on, or around our body can cause a chemical reaction. Pay attention to those signs and signals. Those are all byproducts of chemical reactions that are happening when we are putting nutrients into our system. Again, in, on, or around our body. Be very aware of how your body's responding to those things and eliminate things that aren't making you look and feel your best and live your most authentic life. I'm so happy to hear that this subject helped so many of you. We're not alone. Trust me, if you're suffering something, there's some other women that are out there suffering it as well. And now that you guys know it's something that's very normal for women and there's things that you can do to alleviate it, be open-minded and share some of your stories with maybe some girlfriends that you have that might be suffering in silence or suffering alone, thinking that it's just them. To take the fear and embarrassment away from some of these subjects and really help us come together as women and help each other and support each other get through some of these difficult things. Definitely make sure that you stay tuned with us. If you're catching the rebroadcast, leave me a comment. I'll get back to you. Our May 5th course is starting on the 5th of May, so we're just a couple of weeks away. I would love for you guys to jump in with us if you haven't taken a course with us yet. So many life-changing opportunities can happen when you really start thinking for yourself and creating a lifestyle that you can manage based on how you want to look and feel and the opportunity for you to live your most authentic life. We don't diet in our course. I don't tell you what to eat. I teach you how to live your life and figure things out for yourself. And a lot of times we don't have that opportunity to do that. So if you're looking to make some changes in your life for the positive, jump in with us. We're going to celebrate my birthday all month long. And I would love to just have an opportunity to share this amazing journey with you. Links will be provided after we post this up as a rebroadcast. My amazing go-to girl, I don't want to call her an assistant because she's more than that, is away with her son today, so I can't post any links while we're live right now, but come back and find a link and you can get yourself registered for the course. And then I'll see you guys Friday over on IF Keto Family Life page. We talk about a lot of different things over on that page that I'm not going to talk about here because I want to keep this very specific to us healing women. But if you're interested in doing things that are more intermittent fasting with keto-like possibilities, we're going to do that over on our other page, and we broadcast there on Fridays at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. As always, I'm an open book, so if you have any questions or you want to share something with me that's a little bit more private, always feel free to email me. I always answer emails personally. I will get back to you with any advice, information, or whatever it is that you're looking for that I can find for you. My email address is dianeparhamfitness@gmail.com. Have a super rest of your Wednesday, and I'll see you guys on Friday over at IF Keto Family Life.